The evolution of combat is a very controversial update that happened in RuneScape. Even saying its name or even saying EOC is like Lord Voldemort to RuneScape players.
We do not speak his name.
Voldemort.
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 Voldemort. Voldemort. Voldemort. Voldemort. Voldemort. Voldemort. That thing has a name.
Especially those who were heavily invested around that time like I was. Currently on screen is footage from the combat beta that ran from June 26th till November 20th in 2012, and anybody who had played for a year or had membership running for a full year got access to the beta, which you were given this note that would open a link to get into the beta, but then after a while they allowed all members into the beta. One of the biggest changes for the evolution of combat that everyone noticed and did not like when the combat beta was released was how the combat formula was simplified. It was just X plus defense plus 2, but for the letter X it was anything besides your constitution or prayer. So it was your attack, strength, magic, range, or summoning plus defense. There were a lot more people with combat levels 200. Like I had 200 combat even though I was like a level 130 at the time, and it was very annoying, and it kind of just made the level 138 or which it was at the time, or what it is now, 126, just feels so much less worth it. Like it was just kind of just diminished the accomplishment of maxing your account. This was later reversed almost 2 years later in July of 2014. On a personal note, I remember when I was doing the on-screen activity at the time and I had this like sick feeling in my stomach. I was like, this isn't fun, it's not responsive, because I had been playing some League of Legends and I thought maybe it'd be like that, maybe you could click it and you can kind of like really get good at it. There'd be a high skill cap, which maybe that ended up being like that, because I did quite a bit of bossing later, like in 2018 or so, and it was extremely easy. Like just you didn't really have to do too much to get that good at it, and I'm sure higher end stuff is like that, so RS3 defenders can come out. I'm not a hater of RS3. One of the fun features of the beta was you were able to import your character save from RuneScape. So at the time of the recording of the Troll General on screen, the import wasn't working, so I just did like the intro thing on in Brimhaven. That's why someone at the end of this goes like, WTF is the import. But at the time they had like vendors set up in different parts of the game where you could go buy the high-end stuff, or even the stuff from doing dungeoneering, which I hadn't unlocked all the chaotics at the time. So that made it kind of fun, but it was all with like, yeah, but this is how the game's going to become, and we're not turning back. Even though all the players would negatively reply in the polls were kind of skewed in a way that even the negative sounded positive. It was very scummy, I would say. It felt like a scam to a lot of us back in the day, and it kind of was a big scam because they lost all their player base, and all the years passed. Now the game is just the cash cow that kind of keeps Jagex flowing. I mean, they just got bought for $1 billion, so I mean, it's working well for them. And I hope that if the microtransactions ever come to RS3 or this different combat system, which I never can foresee coming, but if it somehow does, the future somehow repeats the past, we're all due for something a little scary, I would say. Later in the year, I went on again once the servers cleaned up, and I went and did some Slayer, and I had a lot of, I would probably call it copium about, and maybe hopium too, that the game wouldn't be completely ruined. I was killing these abyssal demons, and I'm like, you know, this isn't too bad. The thing I didn't really like is you didn't get like your EXP on your hits, you just would get your EXP at the end of the kill, which was kind of fun, but they had rebalanced the monsters so askew that they actually just are finally fixing them. At the end of last year, there were some updates to fix it, and they even acknowledged how badly they had balanced the monsters, which is kind of funny that it took them over 11 years to do it. What blew my mind when I was researching the evolution of combat was that the old school RuneScape build, if you want to call it, was released only about 4 months after the evolution of combat went live, so maybe Jagex knew. Sort of. When I was killing the abyssal demons, I was talking about how the momentum skill made it feel like just like old times, but you can hear it in my voice. I sounded like I was just hanging on to the ledge for hope, just gripping by my fingertips, hoping that the game wouldn't be ruined. But it was. Even after old school was released, player counts were low because a lot of people like me didn't want to have to start all the way over after investing hundreds of days into their account on one game when nothing would transfer over, which is understandable because it's two completely different games. Now that I have more time played in old school RuneScape than I ever had put in before the Evolution on Combat came out, I wanted to bring you guys my perspective of what the game meant to me back then and what happened when the Evolution Combat came out and what my thoughts were during the beta, which were very, very surrounded with hope and hoping that the game wouldn't be completely ruined, but it really was to me. I would still come back and skill, and then I eventually did try to come back and I maxed out most of my stats again and even played a little bit with archaeology and stuff, but I never tried anything after that. So yeah, if you like this video and you want to see more from me and want to see me maybe go back and tackle some other bosses back in RuneScape 3, maybe I'll give it a shot. But if you want to stay tuned for more old school content from PKing to many other things, click that subscribe button, click the like button, and leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you next time.